أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلتها سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم انفعني بما علمتني وعلمني ما ينفعني وزدني علما آمين يا رب العالمين. So we're gonna start with the 40th ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, which starts with the which is the topic. The topic is Bani Israel, children of Israel, which was the nation of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, also known as Jews now. Jews now. So before I start, like in the beginning, when I did the tafsir of Surah Baqarah, I told you that in this surah there is 3 categories. So, which is mostly Jews, because Allah had so many favors upon them and they still disobeyed him. So this is now Allah is going to mention the favors starting from not exactly this today, but like in the further verses. So this 40th ayah starts with, O children of Israel, remember my favor which I bestowed upon you and fulfill my covenant with you. I shall fulfill my obligations to your covenant and fear me. So Allah is asking the Jews, the Bani Israel, to remember remember Allah's favors which were upon them. Allah had so many favors upon them, and they're very well aware of it. So Allah is asking them to remember them, and they're asking them to obey Allah, obey Allah's commands, so Allah can obey His obligations on them, and fear me. And He's asking, He's commanding them to fear only Him, because as you can see, the Jews now and then, when in Prophet's time, they did not fear Allah. Although they knew He was the one God who was the owner, creator, and He had the authority over everyone and everything, they still did not fear Him. So He's asking them to reflect upon the favors that was upon their nation, and He's asking them to fulfill His commands so He can fulfill His obligations, and His obligations are to help us, to guide us, and in the day of judgment, He's the one who's gonna judge us, right? He's the one who's gonna decide if heaven's for us or if hell's for us. So if only we fulfill our duties towards Him, He'll fulfill His duties towards us. So it's, although it is directed to children of Israel, although it is directed to Bani Israel, it is a lesson for us too. It is Quran. Quran is for us Muslims. So this is also for us, that we have to fulfill our duties so He can fulfill His, and we have to fear Him and only Him. And believe 41, and believe in that which I have sent down, confirming that which is already with you, and be not the first to disbelieve in it, and do not trade my verses for a small price, and be mindful of me. So this verse, and believe in that which I have sent down, confirming that which is already with you. It is, as you know, Jews had this book already, right? Jews had this book, Torah, which was sent from Allah. Now it is not in the original form. It's now very, people have made changes, and they have made changes according to what they wanted. But before, it was the message of Torah was that it was about Allah, it was about Islam, it was about, even Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mentioned. So it was pretty similar to the message of Quran. So now Allah is asking them to believe in what He has sent down. So what has He sent down? Quran. He was sending down the Quran to Prophet. So it was the command to the Jews to believe in what He is sending down and confirm which is already with you. So Quran is actually confirming Torah. It is Torah and Quran, they correlated, right? Even Injil. So they have these have similar messages and all of that stuff. And Quran is mentioned, Torah and Injil is mentioned in Quran, and even in those books, Quran was there. So it was like mentioned, right? So it is Quran confirms those books, its message. It confirms it. So Allah is asking them to believe in Quran now, leave their book and their beliefs behind and believe in Quran, which is not different, right? It is just an upgrade of it. And he's saying, and be not the first to disbelieve in it. So now Jews, they already knew about Islam, they already knew about Prophet, they already knew about Allah. So if, so people there, Sahaba, they actually thought that they might be the first one to believe in Islam. They might be the first one to accept Islam, but they weren't, because they thought that now they know most about Islam, they know most about Allah, so why would they not? But they did not, right? Why did they not? So it's, I will also explain it in the next verse. And do not trade my verses for a small price, and be mindful of me. So here Allah is saying that do not ignore my verses for achieving something small. So it's basically, they wanted to be superior over everyone, right? The Jews there, they wanted to be superior over everyone. They were the nation which had Allah's so many favors, right? They were the nation of Hazrat Musa, and it had Allah's so many favors. And Hazrat Musa was the one who he was sent down, who to whom the book was revealed, right? Torah was revealed to Hazrat Musa. And so the Jews at that time were known as the people of the book, right? So they didn't want this status, they didn't want this superiority to, be taken away. They wanted to be superior, and that is why they didn't believe. So you cannot call them true Muslims or true believers, because what they only liked was that they had that status. It wasn't for Allah, right? It was just for the status there, and they didn't want it to be taken away, but it was taken away, right? It was taken away, and it came to Muslims. Now Muslims are known as the people of the book, right? Now Muslims, we are, Allah took their status and it was sent down to Muslims, because they were true believers. They did not want neither the status, neither the worldly benefits. They just believed in Allah, and they suffered so many hardships just for the cause of Islam. So their status, although they didn't want, they they traded those verses for their status, and you could say that it was profitless. That it was taken away from their status that they thought they would have just because they wouldn't accept Islam. It was taken away, and it was sent down to Muslims who actually believed in Islam. It was sent down to those people who they tortured. So it just shows that Allah is capable of doing everything, and ignoring Allah, and not listening to him, not obeying him, and trading his verses for worldly benefits. He's gonna make everyone pay for it. Verse number 42. And do not mix the truth with falsehood, or conceal the truth while you know it. Now this is here he's saying that we should not mix the truth with falsehood. We should not, when we want something of our own, and it might not be right, we should not be like we should not try to get it from covering up the truth by adding falsehood in the truth. So like speaking somewhat of the truth and adding falseness. So like the statement 100% be true, right? If we want to do something, we might say that Quran allows this, but it's just some part of it. We might quote some part of the hadith, and not maybe the other half, which maybe clears up everything else. So we should not mix it up. We should, if we want to do something, and if it's not allowed, we should not give the false statements that supports it. We should be 100% honest about it. We should not try to hide the truth even when we know it. If we see anything wrong happening around us, we should not hide it. If you know that it's going to lead to something bad, just because you're scared, or just because that person's close, you should not hide it, because Allah knows that the person's going to be revealed to everyone sooner or later. But our duty is not to hide the truth, or our duty is not to cover up the truth by lying, or even mixing of the truth. If we have to be honest, we have to be 100% honest. 43. And establish the prayer, and give the poor due, and bow with those who bow down. So here, these are the commands that Allah gave to us, that we have to establish the 5 regular prayers on the 5 prayers like Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. We have to pray those prayers on their proper timings, and we have to give zakah, because prayer and zakah, we know that it is the source of purification. Prayer will purify us from our sins, and so will zakah. Giving zakah, it will be a mental and mental and spiritual, and even salah is, it's also a physical purification, right? So he's asking us to pray, worship him. Praying is basically worshiping him, and giving zakah, which is also worshiping him because it's his command. And it also is a way we look out for us people in society. And bow with those who bow down. It's basically about how, you know, how we Muslims in congregation, we have to, it's basically about the congregation. We have to bow down with those who bow down, and like, you know, support those who are Muslims in worship, right? It's basically not just about praying. It can be like, you know, support, stay with those who are on the righteous path. 44, do you enjoy the righteousness upon mankind, and you forget yourselves while you recite the scripture? Have you then no sense? Here it's about the people of knowledge, basically Muslims and preachers who ask, who like, you know, preach Islam, who ask people to do this and stop doing that because Islam does not allow this, but Islam allows that. All, you know, the preaching of Islam, but they don't themselves, they don't do it themselves. So, you know, what's the point when you don't understand the Quran itself, when you don't follow the Quran itself? Why are you preaching it? You know, if you're not practicing what you preach, there is no purpose. You cannot, you know, you cannot just, you cannot be a you cannot be, you know, how people are so quick to judge a Muslim just because their sin is visible to them, and they're just so quick to judge that, okay, that is a bad Muslim and that person's gonna burn in hell. But they don't realize that it is the sin they're doing. They're judging who is gonna go to hell, who is a bad Muslim, and all this stuff just because what is visible to them. But what they don't realize is that this is itself a sin, because judgment is for Allah and Allah only. They cannot decide who has to go in hell, who has to go in heaven, right? And they cannot tell people to be so perfect. They cannot, you know, just judge people and be like, to be so perfect when they're not perfect themselves. It reminds me of an incident when a lady came to Prophet. I heard it very long ago. It was when a lady came to Prophet asking with her daughter, and asked Prophet to ask her daughter to stop eating sugar because she eats sugar every, you know, day, and like many, like a lot of sugar. So Prophet asked the lady to go away and like come back after 3 days or somewhat like that. And then she did so. She came back after 3 days, and Prophet then asked the daughter to, like, you know, stop eating, and like, you know, it's not good for you. So now when the lady was confused, obviously, like if he was just about to say the same thing, why didn't he say it the first day? So he asked him that, why did you want me to come after 3 days? So it was Prophet said that I myself, you know, used to do the same thing, and it will be wrong of me to like ask your daughter to stop doing something that I myself do. So when I stopped doing it, I asked your daughter to stop doing it too. So it just gives us a lesson that if we have to preach something, we have to make sure that what we're preaching is what we're also practicing, you know, perfectly. So that's how we can preach it. So if we don't practice it perfectly, then it doesn't make any sense, right? It's purposeless. Verse number 45.
If I can add something
Sure,
over
sure,
there.
sure.
So Horan like rightly mentioned that it's like, you know, how sometimes people think that like every Muslim is supposed to be perfect and not sin and stuff like that. I feel like that also leads to us thinking sometimes that I have sinned so much that I can't ask for forgiveness, or that I don't deserve to pray Isha because I didn't pray Fajr and stuff like that. Because sometimes we feel that Islam needs perfection, which is also a sin, because there's no right or wrong. I mean, there is right and wrong, but then more or less we need to do what we can do rather than do it perfectly, because no human is perfect. And of course, Allah knows that no human can be perfect because he's the only one that can be. So instead of sometimes feeling bad if someone, like, you know, criticizes us about Islam and stuff, we're supposed to take it as like a motivation or inspiration. Yeah, that's what I wanted to
like
say.
to the person who's being criticized, what their job is to take it as a lesson, to stop doing what they now know is wrong. But for the other person who is like, you know, judging them or who is criticizing them, they have to make sure that they also follow the same thing. And yes, if you are not a perfect Muslim, you can always try to be. It doesn't mean that Allah hates you. Allah just wants you to try, right? So you can always try to be the perfect Muslim. You can always You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try, and trying is what that counts. So if you try, you will surely, you know what, no one can be a perfect Muslim. It was only Prophet who was the perfect Muslim, and then after him it was the Sahaba, right? But what we can do is try to be, we can choose Prophet Muhammad as a role model and try to do what he does. We won't be perfect, obviously, but trying is what matters. 45, and seek help through patience and prayer, and truly it is hard except for those who humbly submit to Allah. So Allah here is asking them to, if we want any help, if we want to, overcome a trouble, we have to be patient and we have to pray. So patience is a big thing. If you make impulsive decisions, if you let anger or any other emotion, like overcome you, if you let any other emotion, it could be even happiness, you can make wrong decisions while you're really happy. You might think that everything is going so well, you might not look at the other sides of it, and you can just make a wrong decision when you're happy, and you can make wrong decisions when you're sad or angry. What you have to do is be patient and pray to Allah. You have to pray to Allah to, give you help, to, you have to ask for help from Allah, and you have to be really, really patient, and surely Allah will give it to you. But now the second verse, like the second part of the verse is, and truly it is hard except for those who humbly submit to Allah. So here it is, when I was going through it, it was two opinions. It was that maybe being patient is hard, or being regular in prayer is hard, right? So people who don't regularly pray, it will be hard for them, right? That whenever they want help, they might not be, so regular to praying, so it will be hard for them. So they are, in that way, they are kind of, missing out on Allah's help. They won't get Allah's true help. And then patience, it's hard for them because, being patient is a big thing, and it is a really hard thing, honestly. So if you're patient, if you, remind yourself that what you have is from Allah, and and Allah is the one who gives it, takes it. So you can be patient through that, because if you lose something, if you lose something, it could be anything. It could be a physical thing. It could be, losing peace, losing anything. So if you feel like you're in trouble, or if you're not mentally okay, or even physically okay, just know that it came from Allah, and Allah will surely take it away if you are patient. And it reminds me of Surah of Hazrat Ayub's incident, when he had everything, right? But it started, he had beautiful gardens and a lot of animals, everything. He was living in luxury, but it was all taken away from him. But did he ever say that, God, why does it have to happen to me? What did I do to deserve it, and all that stuff? No, he didn't. He was so patient. He was so sick also. He was really, really sick, and was on the sick bed the whole time, but he never uttered you know those wrong words, that what did I do to deserve this? Why does Allah make me go through this? Why is it only me who goes through this and not anyone else? If you're facing something, some hardships, we should always remind ourselves that it is a test from Allah, and Allah only tests those people the most whom he loves the most, right? So we should always be patient. Hazrat Ayub was so patient, although he had lost everything, but he was so patient, and Allah was so happy with him. So we should
Can I
always
add
remind ourselves.
something?
Sure.
Uh, Even his wife asked him that, like, you are in such a pain, why don't you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you, right? So what he told us, he asked his wife that how many years did I spend in luxury, and it was around 40 years, and from how many years I am in pain. So it was 7 years. We
Yep.
think it's a lot for us, but it's 7 years, but he told us it's just 7 years, and it's more than how much time I have spent in luxury. And he even scolded his wife.
Yeah, I know. I remember he was pretty frustrated with his wife, and he was like, if I was fine, I might have, like, he was really frustrated. He was like, he was very, very frustrated, because it was like her wife was questioning Allah's what Allah sent down to him. So if he was really patient throughout the test that he had to go through. So it just shows how loyal he was to Allah, how patient he was. So so we also have to learn a lesson that if you're going through some hardship, you should always be patient and pray to Allah. For example, most of us, when it comes to exams, and if you're not regular in prayers, we're just so regular in prayers suddenly, right? We're just like, I need to get good marks, I need to pass these exams, so let me just go pray to Allah. And sometimes we feel bad that I don't pray regularly, but when it comes to exams, it's the only time I pray regularly, which is not actually wrong, because you know that Allah is the only one who can help you. There is no one else who can only help you. So Allah likes it when you only come to him, when you know that it's only Allah. Everything is just on Allah now. So you go to him and pray to him, and you seek help from him. He won't help you if you won't help yourself, by the way. So if you only help yourself, if you're trying hard enough, he will definitely help you. Trying hard enough along with asking for his help, he will help you. Verse number 46. Those who are certain that they will meet their Lord and that to him they will return. So it's kind of like correlating with the last verse, that and truly it is hard except for those who humbly submit to Allah. So, and then it continues from here. So when we know that everything that we have is from Allah and it will go back to Allah, even us, Allah sent us down, and now he will take us away. We're like certain, right? We all are certain that we will go and meet Allah again, right? We'll go back. This world is really, really temporary. It can end anytime, right? We know that really well. So what's the point of investing yourself so much in this worldly troubles, in these worldly matters? What's the point of letting the worldly sadness get to you so much that you're just, left in the dark, right? When you know that Allah is with you the whole time, and this world will end. There is no point in crying so much about it. There is no point in investing so much about it that we forget that we have a hereafter waiting for us. So if we know that there is a hereafter and we'll have to give our accounts, we'll be accounted for what we've done. So it will make us humble. It will make us humble in a way that we'll be very obedient to Allah, and humble that whatever that we're facing is just temporary, like this world. It will go away. It will go away really soon, right? And when we are in the hereafter, and if we were good Muslims in this world, we'll definitely be in Jannah, and in Jannah we will have all the luxuries, all the pleasure, everything that we want. We'll have it in Jannah. So there is no point of whining so much about these worldly troubles, of investing yourself in worldly troubles, that you forget that there is a hereafter. And this way you will be humble for sure. 47. All children of Israel. It's coming back again to Allah reminding Bani Israel about his favors. O children of Israel, remember my favor which I bestowed upon you, and that I preferred you over the worlds. So now, as I told you, Jews were so big on their status, right? They thought that we are so superior over everyone, and we're just really superior, and that's what that's the pride that got to them. That's the pride which made them so disobedient to Allah, because they thought they would already have everything in this world, and that's what turned them against Islam and against Allah's prophet, because they thought their status, it was gonna go away. Their superiority will go away once Muslims have the rule. So that's what that's Allah's reminding them that it was the favor. It was not their status. It was the favor that they had of Allah. And he preferred them over all the nations, all the people, right? It was not them. It was not their race. It was not them at all. It was Allah's favor that they had. That's why they were so lucky. And if Allah wished, he could have just taken it away. He could have taken his favor away, and he could have destroyed that nation because of the sins it committed so many sins, numerous sins, but Allah forgave them. Allah still continued to bestow. Allah still continued bestowing them favor and all that stuff. But if he wished, he could have all just taken it away, and their nation would be nothing. It would have no dignity, no honor. Which so Allah is just reminding them that it's not their race, it's not them that is really superior. It was just the fact that they had Allah's favors. Allah's favors that was really important, not their race at all. So they don't have to be so proud of that. So, that they just ignore Islam, ignore Allah, and just go against him. Verse number 48, and fear a day when no soul will avail another soul at all, nor will intercession will be accepted from it, nor will compensation will be taken from it, nor will they be helped. It is about the day of judgment. So he is telling them that fear the day when no soul will avail another soul. Like, intercede or for another soul, help another soul, right? In that day we won't have any friends. We cannot say even the truest of our friends in this world, even our parents, our family, right? Our relatives, our family, we're the closest to them, right? Even they will not help us. Instead of helping us, they'll be like, you can take my whole family, you can even put them in the hellfire or something, just so I can go to heaven. There will be families like that will be ready. There will be a person who will be ready to give up his whole family just so he could go to heaven. But obviously it will not work, because you cannot trade something. You cannot trade with Allah, right? You will be judged for your own deed and your deed only, right? So there will be no intercession. No family would be like, he was a good Muslim, please, like, please forgive him or anything. No, nothing will be done. It'd be just Allah's judgment. Allah will hold everyone accountable. So neither you can you cannot give ransom, in battles or anything. Before or even now, when you are in, let's say, in jail, or you're a captive or something, right? A person can give an amount of money that could take you out, right? It was like ransom, right? Even ransom, even like the whole, the gold in this whole earth, in this whole world, will not do us any good. We'll be just judged for our deed, and that's all. No help would come, nothing would come. But help will only come if we are true Muslims, if we recite the Quran daily, if we implement the Quran daily in our lives. Only then help would come for us. Verse number 49. Wait, I think no, this is it. I think 48 was the last verse in my slot. So does anyone have anything to add?
No.
Yes. She can go first.
You can go, Hiba.
Okay, so can I tell some lessons that I learned from
Sure.
the Tafseer?
Sure.
Yeah, so the first thing I learned is that whatever hadiths we're reading, we need to be sure about that hadith. And the second thing I learned that is we should not trust any other book, like the other books which were related to the before prophets. We should only believe in Quran. And the third thing is we need to, instead of trying to be perfect, we need to do our best. And the fourth thing is we need to be patient.
Yes. Yes, this was all that was mentioned in today's verse. Good job, Hiba. And Zainab, you were saying something?
Yes, so Miss Lubna actually rightly pointed out that the story that you mentioned about like the sugar one, about the person coming to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and stuff, she was unable to find anything that was exactly linking that story to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And there was this, like the one she was able to find was about another saint and a normal person. So I just wanted to point that out because we cannot relate anything that doesn't have proof to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So
All right,
that story isn't
Mr.
technically authentic.
Because I don't remember when I heard it. It was very long ago. And I'm not also sure. I didn't do all my research. It just came to me at the moment, so I just said it. And thank you so much, Sana, for correcting me. And thank you so much, Mrs. Lubna, for correcting me. But we can still learn a lesson from it, although remembering that it was not the incident of Prophet. We can still learn a lesson that first we should correct ourselves, then we should go on correcting others.
That's right.
Thank you. So does anyone have anything else to add? If not, I will conclude with the ending dua. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.